Hello and welcome to the Beautifully Bear podcast. I'm Shelby Coughlin, the owner and founder of Beautifully Bear. I'm so excited for you to be here with us today on the Beautifully Bear podcast as I bring you an amazing episode called Dear Shelby. If you follow us on our socials, you know that this is our episode that was supposed to air last week. Unfortunately, there was a huge mishap with our audio and we lost everything. I was so sad, but I'm so happy to be back and filming this episode for you guys. We did mix up the Dear Shelbys a little bit, so I'm going to still be answering some of these that I did not answer on the original video, just so that we could still get some initial reactions out of me. And I really just love being able to initially react and really give you guys 100% of my heart. And it's just super important to me that I'm always vulnerable and transparent with you guys. So let's get into it. What is Dear Shelby? So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about it before I start reading these. It is an anonymous advice column that I put together in my Facebook group. And if you are not following us there, please give us a follow. We're also on Instagram and TikTok. And essentially what I did was I asked people to submit advice columns that I'm going to read it anonymously, or it can just be a question for me, and I'm going to answer them as truthful and as honest as I possibly can. This can be about anything. It can be about your kids, it can be about a session, it can be about relationships, it can literally be about anything. And this is going to be a segment that is featured at some point in all of our podcasts going forward. So we'll have either at the beginning of an episode or at the end of an episode a quick little Dear Shelby, and I'll read one or two Dear Shelby's off and answer them just during that time period. I think it's a fun way for you guys to kind of get to know me and maybe ask me some questions that you have been wanting to hear me answer and you're just not 100% sure where I stand on something. And I'm here for it. I would love to answer it no matter what it's about for the most part. Let me just say that for the most part, because you guys, I have made the mistake of saying things like that before and then really eating my own words. So forgive me. All right. So now that you know what Dear Shelbys are, this entire episode is dedicated to Dear Shelbys. So buckle in. It's going to be a good one. I'm so excited. And big shout out to every single person that wrote in. You are amazing. You're the true MVP. It means the world for your support. And I couldn't do this without you guys. So thank you. Dear Shelby, what would you tell little you, knowing what you know now, about self love and self affirmations? I'm trying to build a list for my daughter. Oh my gosh, that's so sweet. That is so sweet. First of all, I love that you're building a list for your daughter. And I wish that I would have built a list for my daughter. So, knowing that you're building a list for your daughter, I wish I would have built one for mine. Here's my advice to you. And again, so genius that you're doing this. 10 out of 10. Love that. And I think this is so smart for even anyone who is currently pregnant with their first daughter, or you have a daughter and maybe you didn't do this, but you want to do this now. You can still do it. Like, you don't just like miss your shot if you don't do it right away. And I feel like for me, that was the biggest thing as a mom who didn't know to do things like that in the early stages of her life. Um, I wish that I would have known to do these things. And so coming in later as a mom doing it, I can kind of give a little bit of two-sided advice. And I will do that because I'm sure there are several of you out there maybe listening to this who were thinking, wow, well, my kid's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I'm curious what I should be doing for my daughter to help build her up in that way. I would tell little me that she is beautiful, that her body is her own, that she owns her body, that no one else has rights to it. I would tell little me that all bodies are good bodies. And that is something that I'm practicing daily with my daughter, is that all bodies are good bodies, because she's at that age and at that point where she's starting to realize like people have different outside looks, and we've been talking a lot about it because she's taller than a lot of kids her age, and she is a little bit she's not even like necessarily heavier than other kids. It's just that she's just she's a dense girl, man. Like she is a hoss. Like I love her to death. Like man, she could take me out. She is just big boned. I am like frail and fragile, right? But she's starting to understand these differences. And so we've been talking a lot about how everybody looks different and how boring would it be if everybody looked the same. And we talk a lot about that because I want to teach her now that people are going to look different in your life, but that doesn't change who they are as a person. And I think that teaching her that is not only going to help her love herself more, love her body more, but it's going to help her love her friends more. It's going to help her love her friends' bodies more. And it's going to help her be a more supportive person, which is what we need in this world. We need more people to have the same mind, like concept that all bodies are good bodies. Like, can we shut the fuck up with putting people in boxes and labels? Because I'm sick of it. And I think that we need to teach our daughters, and hell, we need to teach our sons this too, honestly, but to the point of it being for our daughters is that as women, we are raising the next generation of women, okay? Do we want the generation we're raising as women to be like us, right? Or do we want them to be better? I want them to be better because I did not know that. I mean, I hung out with girls who were just downright freaking mean, Like not all of my friends. I'm not going to say that. Like if you were listening to this, we were childhood besties, like it was definitely not you that I'm referring to. You probably know who I'm referring to. But I mean, they would just like say the meanest, crudest shit about each other and each kid. And it was just like dumb stuff. But it's like those dumb things that kids make fun of are actually the things that really hurt another child, right? And I think that really honing in and teaching our kids to be kind individuals can help us take them far and beyond what they could be and how they could be as humans. I mean, kids are going to be kids and kids are going to say stupid shit. And I understand that. And I'm not saying that they're not going to do that and this is going to like eliminate that problem, but I definitely think that if anything it wouldn't hurt. And I also think it's important to really watch what you say about yourself around your kid. Like sometimes I genuinely feel like shit, right? Like I feel like shit, so I look like shit, and maybe I've like had a rough couple of days where I didn't sleep a lot, and y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Like that time when you wake up and you're just like, I could definitely stand on a corner and collect change today and people would genuinely think I was homeless. Like one of those kind of days. It is so important when your daughter is listening to you and how you talk about yourself that you are careful with your words, because when you start talking about how you feel, like, oh, I'm ugly, oh, I look like trash, oh, um I'm overweight. Oh, I'm underweight. Oh, I don't have big boobs. Oh, I don't have a big enough butt. Or, oh, my boobs are too big. Or, whatever it may be that you're just saying about yourself in a negative way, and your daughter's standing there and she hears you saying this, that is going to affect the way that she views herself someday. It may not affect the way she views herself today, tomorrow, next week, but this is like starting to become like a thing in her brain if you are doing it, especially if you're doing it often. Like I would say if you're doing it more than like once a month, even, like I can remember my mom speaking negatively about herself and I would think, God, she's so beautiful. Like I wasn't thinking about it in a way of, why does she talk about, like I wasn't like, why does she talk about herself like that, I just didn't understand it. And I think that later on in my life, that affected the way that I thought about myself, because I was literally, at one point I remember thinking to myself, wow, this sounds like something that my mom said when she was younger. Or when she was younger, when we were both younger. And I think it's just so important to watch how you talk about yourself and be the light that you want your daughter to be. And I think having a daughter has really helped me see how I talk about myself even further, because I would never want her to say things about herself like I've said about myself. And so I watch what I say around her. So if you're building a list for your daughter, definitely put these things on there. I think these are the most important. I mean, make a point to this is something I do with my daughter too. I make a point when we're like getting ready in the morning or we're in front of the mirror and I'm like brushing her hair and she's brushing her teeth or whatever. I'm like, "You're so beautiful." And then I tell her things specifically that are beautiful, not just like a, "Oh, you're beautiful." Like it's like oh, one thing. I'm like, wow, I love your hair. It's so long. It's so curly. It's so beautiful. And she's like, well, it gets so tangly. I'm like, yeah, but it's so curly. And if it wasn't tangly, then you might have just straight hair and maybe you wouldn't like the straight hair. And she's like, oh, okay. So I have beautiful curly hair. I was like, yes. And she was like, but people with straight hair can have beautiful straight hair. I was like, exactly. And she was like, okay. So all hair can be beautiful. And then I was like, yep. And all bodies are. And she says, good bodies. And it's just so, like, it's so cute. But at the same time, in 10 years, she's going to remember this. In 10 years, these things are going to be fundamentally in her brain. And so that's something that's just important to me to make like a key factor in her life, um, just going forward. And I think that would be good for your daughter as well. And self affirmations are so important. I would say definitely teach her self affirmations. Something that me and my daughter talk about is I ask her to say nice things about herself and she will tell me nice things about herself. And sometimes, like, if she's saying something and it's like not really necessarily like something about herself, like it's like, I'm having trouble thinking of something like right off the top of my head, but she's saying something and it's really just not that great of a thing. I'm like, maybe let's try to add a sixth thing that we love about ourselves because I know there's something bigger in there that you've got to love about yourself because you're pretty freaking amazing. And then she'll like pull something out and she's like, I can say this big word. And she'll like name off a big word. And I'm like, exactly. You're so smart. And I want her to talk about herself this way because I want when those hard moments come when someone says something mean to her or she gets her first heartbreak or some boy tries to break her heart and say something ugly to her. You know what I'm saying? Or girl, whatever she's into. And I'm just like, I want her to be able to know fundamentally who she is and what she's about. Because what we have to our core, what we have fundamentally in our brain is all we got. At the end of the day, when shit hits the fan, that's what we've got. And so, kind of building her up to be this force that knows who she is and has the confidence. Hell, it's helped me gain confidence because I want her to have such a confidence about her. Like, I don't want her to ever have to depend on anyone for anything. I want her to be able to be her own person, to be able to live her own life, to be able to just say yes to what she wants to say yes to and say no to what she wants to say no to and be so confident and bold and powerful. Like, I want all of these amazing things for her in her life. And I think that all of them are achievable. And I think that we can raise some amazing women to come up in our next generation and truly be unified amongst each other, like teaching our girls that like you need to pull those people into your circle that are different than you because they can bring something into your life that you can't bring into your life. And if you're hanging out with the same type of people all the time and you're not pulling anybody else into your circle, how are you going to learn about different parts of life, you know? And I think it's been so interesting to me, like growing up, and I really had friends of all over the spectrum. And it was so interesting to me because I was seeing into different worlds all of the time and kind of getting different perspectives on all of them. And it's just that overall was something that was just not taught amongst us. And I don't know. I think that's just fundamentally one of the most important things. And I would definitely say that is my answer to your Dear Shelby. Dear Shelby, how does it feel knowing you heal women on a daily basis? Is it difficult to do this while healing yourself? How does it feel? Okay, so it feels so unreal, yet so incredibly real at the same time. And I feel so humbled, honored. Oh my gosh, I feel all of the things. I feel so amazed. I feel so scared. I feel so anxious, but I feel so excited and I feel so confident. I feel like I'm coming out of my shell in a way that maybe I never have before. I feel like I'm really finding who I am and what I want out of life. And I feel like for most of my life, I didn't know what that was because I didn't know who I was. I didn't know really and truly what was fundamentally important to me because those roots that I had built were built with so much negative intention and toxicity that I truly just didn't have any good roots. I mean, that goes back to the first one that I answered, like having those things that you fundamentally believe about yourself are so important, and when you grow up without that and you don't find that until much much later in your life, it's very difficult because you have to basically rewrite what you believe about yourself and heal from the things that you used to fundamentally believe because they attacked my mind for so many years. So knowing that I heal people on a daily basis and knowing where I come from and the pain that I've really overcome and been able to heal from, wow, is fucking crazy, and it genuinely blows my mind on a daily basis. Like when I have a client come in and start crying and hugging me and saying that this was the most amazing experience of her life, and then she gets her pictures back and she writes me the most heartfelt fucking message and tells me how great this experience was for her and what it did for her. I mean, I have sobbed reading these messages, and like I don't even have the right words to express my gratitude and my love for these clients. Like I genuinely feel so connected. I'm such an energy person too, so I think that the thing about me and the thing it's always been this way, and part of it has to do with experiencing trauma. Like I know that, and there's a lot of brain science behind this, but I really read the energies in a room, and sometimes I actually have had to like leave a room because it's too much energy, because I feel I can become like overwhelmed with it. It's like it's almost like I feel like kind of empathic. And when I have my clients and they come in, it's like I can feel their energy. Like I can feel if they're nervous. I can feel if they're just like super confident, but I can also feel if they're super confident, but like that little bit of nervousness is in there. And then I can kind of feel my clients out and feel like, okay, they like more of like these type of poses, or this is more their vibe. They don't want to go too far with that, or they really want to push the limits, and I know that. So we're gonna go above and beyond on the limits today, and you're gonna feel like you've got to work out. But having that side of me that feels those energies, I feel like it helps me so much when relating to people and helping them heal and helping them grow, because I am so in touch with what that pain felt like, and I'm so in touch with what this healing feels like. For the first time in my life, I'm actually in touch with my own feelings. And I've felt kind of checked out for a long time. Like I just did what everybody else wanted. I followed what everybody else needed, and I fit in. Like that's what I did. And now that I am my own person per se, I have found my own place in life, and gosh, helping women heal on a daily basis, like it's there's nothing like it. It's indescribable. I would I would not trade it. I mean, I've committed my life to this cause. I have committed everything. I mean, I have put in the work, you guys. And I know like people always come on and they talk about all the work they put in, but like y'all, and there will be more guests on these episodes who, are going to come on and attest to this, because they have literally, I mean, I have had people on my team physically come to my house and take my laptop out of my hand and say, "You need a break. Take a break." Like breaking it down to me, because I will push and push and push and push until I cannot go anymore, until I literally collapse. Like I've fallen asleep with my laptop more times than I can count. And I am not a person that just falls asleep easy, y'all. Like I'm not a like, "Oh, I'm relaxing. Here, go to sleep." Like I am a all-nighter. I could work night shift and it would never affect me. Like I'm a night owl through and through. Always have been, always will be, I think. I don't know. I'm kind of working on it. We'll see where that goes. But I've genuinely poured my life into this. And the second part of the question is it difficult to do this while healing yourself? And I'm going to say no immediately, but yes immediately at the same time, right? Because this is twofold. No, it is not difficult as far as like, have I ever had to cancel a session because of it? No. Have I ever struggled maybe right before a session? Yes, but typically if like I am struggling, I will meditate, I will meet with my therapist if I'm especially if I'm seeing clients that day because I always want to be in a good headspace for my clients because part of my mission and what I do is that I want to be able to be vulnerable for my clients and if I'm not in a good headspace then I can't be in a good headspace for my client. I have so many people who tell me all the time that, wow, you're such a bubbly person and always in such a good mood. And that is generally very true about me. Like, this is who I am all the time. Like, you can ask my family and friends, like, I am on go all the time. But I also have like moments where typically by myself because I am usually a type of person that handles all my affairs alone, right? So, like, I don't I'm not a public person when it comes to my pain. And part of Beautifully Barren and doing this is that I've made my pain public in a lot of ways, but there's still a lot that's private about my life. And I don't say that to be like, ooh, y'all don't know my big secret. But it's really just that like I mean, sometimes shit gets hard and you get sad and you need to cry for alone for a minute, you know? Like I'll listen to Rise Up and I'll just cry. And then I'll feel a lot better afterwards. And I'll meditate and then I can get back in my groove of being there and being vulnerable for the client. And through my own healing journey and through healing other women, truly has helped me heal so much. And so I benefit from this as well and my team benefits from this. I feel like it's truly a healing experience all the way around and getting to know all of these different women from all of these walks of life and hearing their healing journeys and their stories is just it's really life-changing for me and it's something that I wouldn't trade for the whole world. And I love what I do and this is so much like I'm an artist through and through and I love the photos and that part is so amazing to me. But truly my mission and my goal in this is to help as many women as I can and I'm not going to stop at any point and I just can't wait to see how far it goes. And so that was an amazing question. Thank you so much. Dear Shelby, how do you handle encounters during your shoot where one might be emotional over not being comfortable in their own skin? Okay, wow, I kind of answered this a little bit. But okay, so like I said, I'm super empathic. I read the energies. I'm super attentive to my clients as well. Like I want to be your hype woman. I want to be your bestie and I'm going to kind of like feel you out and try and figure out how I can be that for you because everybody needs that. Everybody needs a hype woman in their life and not everybody has the luxury of having one all the time. And I love being that for my clients. Like, I love being the person that is hyping you up. Like, it brings me so much joy to bring you so much joy. Does that make sense? So, when my clients do get vulnerable with me and maybe get emotional and cry during their session because they're not, comfortable in their own skin for whatever reason that may be, and every woman has a different reason. Like, I've heard so many different reasons in regards to why my clients have an issue with their body. And it's crazy to me because it's so all over the board, but also so similar at the same time. Like almost every woman, and you, like, hear me when I say this, like, I would venture to say 98% of my clients have all told me that they are self conscious about their lower part of their stomach, right? Every single woman. We all pretty much share this, right? Kids or no kids, we all pretty much share this. And it's crazy to me that we are all so worried about it. And I'll have clients come in and they're like, I could never look like her. I'm like, well, they're actually practically the same size. And she's like, there's no way. And then I show her photos and she's like, holy shit, that is me. And do you know how many people can't believe it's them after they get the photos? They're like, wow, who is that woman? So when my clients are emotional with me, I am emotional back with them. Like, I'm going to be vulnerable with them, but I'm also going to be honest with them. And I'm going to, be firm and kind because, like, let's be honest, I am not. I am not coming at you like Billy Badass, okay? Like, I'm coming at you like, girl, we are not talking about ourselves like that. And I adore you, and you're a hot ass bitch, and we're about to make you believe it. And then I will take them and I will take a picture of them, and it will look freaking, sorry, I'm trying not to cuss, but like, I don't know. It just doesn't feel right. You'll look fucking flawless. And when I show you my camera and you see that photo of you and you're like, wow, who is she? That is not me. It's 100% you. And this is a raw image. No edit, no nothing. This is you. Hey, hi, it's me. Okay? So my goal when my clients decide to be emotionally vulnerable with me as far as like for their shoot, if they're nervous about something or even if they're emotional in a good way, I want to be there for them. I'm going to be there for them. I'm not going to be like, well, you sort this out and I'll be back. Like, that's not what I'm going to do. I would never do that. Like, I'm going to be there for you through and through. If you want to like sit and chat for a minute, like we need to take a break, we need to talk, like, I'm good with that too, Like, at the end of the day, I'm here for my clients. I'm going to do whatever it takes to make them comfortable because this is a vulnerable space to be in. And I'm aware of that. I'm aware of the fact that you are literally coming in and I am a stranger to you and you are about to virtually get, quote unquote naked in lingerie, but you're going to feel naked. Like, hell, I walk out in a tank top and I feel a little naked sometimes, So, like, that first moment where you're just like in bra and panties or a bodysuit or whatever, it can be very, like, oh, shocking. But I'm not a creep. I'm not a weirdo. Like, I am literally here to be your bestie for the resty, okay? And I plan to work with you multiple times. It's going to be amazing. We're going to hit it off. And it's just, I mean, it's a good thing. I love when clients are comfortable enough to be emotional with me because it also shows that they feel safe in my space. And creating a safe environment is so important. So if you need to come and you need to cry, come and cry. I'm here for you. I'm here for it. We're here to heal. And sometimes you got to cry. Sometimes you got to cry to heal. And sometimes it takes coming into the studio and literally just jumping off that cliff of this is my greatest fear. And you jump off that cliff and maybe you're crying because you're like, holy shit, I'm here. I'm doing this. I'm proud of myself. And you just get emotional. Do it. Sometimes I get emotional over like my successes, or like my good things or things that end up working out for me. Like, I get so emotional over it. It's okay. It's okay to be okay. It's okay to not be okay. And I'm here for both seasons, all right? Dear Shelby, I'm wanting to book my very first shoot ever, and my nerves are pretty horrible. Is there anything I can do to prepare myself for this session? Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so first of all, the first step I would say is to set a date in your own mind. Don't message me your date yet because that might not be the step you're ready to take. If you're ready to take that step, however, go ahead and lock in your date. You can do it months out. Like, do 3 months out. That's 90 days. You have 90 days to plan that this is happening, right? That's a good way to get the nerves. If you're not quite ready to book that, though, set the date in your mind. Okay, this is around the time I think I want to take the photos. Set that first date. And then you need to think, when do I want to book it by? Because I don't know what your financial situation is like, whatever, however that works out for you. Start thinking about that so that that part of it's not even a factor for you. Maybe get a grab bag or something on our monthly grab bags. And then that way you have the chance to win a session, or at least, everybody's a winner. So you can win a massive percentage off, which can help you. And I feel like that can also kind of push you in the direction because honestly, like, not a lot's going to take the nerves away 100%. It's kind of like the push, right? The nerves will fall off after you come in for your session. Like almost everybody walks up into the studio and they are nervous. And I'm not lying to you. I think everybody's a little shocked when they come in. They're like, "I'm so nervous. I'm sorry." I'm like, "Listen, every single client says this. Even return clients will be nervous. Like, and it's just like those initial nerves of like, wow, I'm going and I'm getting naked in front of a camera and a person. And it's like scary a little bit. So I think that first, planning out your shoot. Second, start drinking lots of water. Start exfoliating your body. Start exfoliating your face, getting your skincare down because that's going to help your makeup lay down better on your face. There's lots of skincare prep in our group as well. So if you're interested in booking a session, I can get you tagged over in that once you join my group. But there's so many tips and tricks you can do before your shoot. But we really make this a seamless process. If you don't even want to go shopping for your outfits, we offer that as an add-on that we will literally shop for your outfits. You show up, you get your outfits, you take your outfits home, they're yours. Or you can use our client closet, which has over 500 pieces of lingerie. So like we take the stress of outfits out of it for you. We also have products like albums, metal prints, canvases, regular prints, like all kinds of fun, amazing products to choose from. We really do try to make this like a seamless, great process for each and every client. I think that another thing to do is to start saying affirmations to yourself every day. It feels silly at first. It does. I'm not going to lie to you. You're going to feel like, ugh, this is so stupid. This isn't going to work. But like after you do it for like 14 days or 21 days or 30 days, I don't know, don't stop doing it. Just keep doing it because after a certain mark, you're going to start to feel better. Stop talking shit to yourself because you're literally putting negative bullshit in your brain and your brain is eating it up. It's like, okay, this is what we believe about ourselves. Bet. Okay, this is what we believe about ourselves. Bet. And then eventually all you believe about yourself is poop. And then you can't even appreciate a compliment when someone gives it to you because you literally don't believe anything nice about yourself. So here's what I need you to do. Start believing nice things about yourself. Start saying nice things about yourself. Start speaking those affirmations. Start believing them. Even if you don't at first, eventually you will. Your brain's going to start to be like, all right, bet. This is how we feel. I hope you do book a shoot. I think that it sounds like you are at least taking a step of, anonymously writing in and saying that you're wanting to book your first shoot. And I really hope that you do. So, and I hope that you tell me you wrote this because I would love to hear how you prepped and what you did to get over those nerves. Dear Shelby, I don't have a significant other, but I'd love to find my own sexuality again. But I feel as if it's pointless if I have no one to share them with. I get the concept of doing it for yourself, but I'd love to hear about past clients who have been in a similar spot. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we have a lot of clients who do this for themselves and do not have significant others. You 100% do not have to have a significant other to do this. In fact, a lot of my clients who have significant others don't actually share these photos with their significant others every single time, or they don't share all of the photos with them. Of course, this is on a preference basis. You can share whatever you want. Like, I have no like qualms about it. But, and they're your photos. You do what you want with them. You own your body. Back to point one. Y'all hear me? So, I would say, regardless of if you are booking this shoot for someone else or not, at the end of the day, this shoot is for you. It is all about you. I'm not taking these pictures for the person that you're giving them to. I'm taking them for you. Of course, if you have a special request for your significant other or whatever, we got you. I'll make it happen, Captain. But at the end of the day, your sexuality is yours. And the goal in this is that you can reclaim that and own that. Or if you've already claimed that on your life, you can own that through a series of beautiful photos that you get to hold on to for the rest of your life. And I think that that in and of itself is so beautiful because in 10 years, you're going to look different. Inevitably, you're going to look different. In 20 years, you're going to look different. And I know so many people, I photographed so many women who are like in the age gap of 60 to 75. And they are, oh my gosh, y'all, they are a freaking hoot. I love them so much. Like I live by this. And so many of them, oh my God, I love them. They told me that they had trouble finding photographers who would take their pictures. And I was like, wow, really? Like that's a problem. And that makes me so fucking mad, first of all, because all bodies are good bodies, even in any age, in, any age gap, age appropriate gap. Y'all know what I'm saying. But they will tell me, I wish I would have done this when I was younger. I wish I would have done this when I was 30 and 40 when I thought, oh, I can't ever do anything like this because I look so bad. And they say that now, looking back, they're like, I was beautiful and I should have appreciated my body. And every time I hear them say that, I think to myself, that's what I'm going to fucking do. I'm going to appreciate my body now because I know when I'm 50, 60, 70, I'm going to look back and be like, damn, you look good. And you sat there and you picked yourself apart for whatever reason. And now it's like you didn't appreciate that time that you had with your body. You didn't appreciate that time that you had because we don't have a lot of time here, guys. Like, realistically, we're not here that long. Like, if you really think about it, I mean, think how fast time passes. Like, there's no fucking way we're in May already. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, don't wait. This life is so short. Live it and get the boudoir shoot done. Claim your sexuality. Own your body. Don't give a fuck what anybody else has to say because at the end of the day, nobody's going with you, you know? Like, I mean, yeah, they might go with you, whatever your beliefs are on that, but we're not getting into that. This life is too short to not do things for yourself and not love yourself and not live it to the fullest. And I will be damned if I get to 40 or 50 or 60 and I look back and say, damn, you didn't fucking live your life. Like, what were you doing? I will not do that. And I will not let you do that either. So if you come to me for advice, this will be it. Like, this life is too damn short for shitty people, for shitty mindsets. It's too short. And we have to be the change that we want to see within ourselves. We have to be the change that we want to see within everybody else. And that starts within getting help for ourselves mentally, getting help for ourselves physically, whatever that may be, individually. Like, I mean, I didn't go to the doctor for like 6 years, should have done that. And I mean, it's important to take care of yourself. It's important to make sure that you're doing, right by your body because it's what's going to take you. I mean, all bodies are good bodies. And I never said that meant that we didn't have to take care of our bodies. And so, I don't know. I think that you should book it. I think that I understand that, like, maybe that little, like, fear of I don't have a significant other, so it's pointless. But these women in this group will give you more and better hype than any man, okay? So you do have somewhere to post these photos. You got somewhere, baby. You got it, okay? You got it. Post in the group, and these women will hype you up in a way that you maybe have never been hyped up. And also write your story because there's so many women who are in a similar spot. Like, I genuinely could tell you that it's like got to be at least, I mean, I would say 50% at minimum. At minimum. I really need to like keep track of it so I can do like some percentages and scales. I'm gonna start doing that. Okay. And last but not certainly not least, dear Shelby, I'm beginning to feel out of touch with myself, out of touch with life, really. Listening into your podcast has brought me so much hope, and your willingness to share your story is truly so inspiring. I want to heal from my past and regain the confidence I know I can have. Finding the exact place to start is my holdup. I'm unsure about therapy, and I'm so scared to come in for a shoot. I'm in the process of a nasty divorce, and seeing your retreat posts have intrigued me. What exactly will be happening at this retreat for the women who attend? Okay. First of all, I hate that you're feeling so out of touch with yourself and out of touch with life. I'm just going to say that I know that that is a hard spot to be in. And I know that it can feel dark and it can feel scary and it can feel like there's no hope in sight. But I hope that you can remember in these moments that there is, and that there are brighter days ahead, and that everything always gets better, and most of everything in life is figure outable. And I live by those words. We are here for you. We are here to help you in any way that we can. And we are here to support you in whatever that means. I appreciate that you've been listening to the podcast. And I genuinely love that it's brought you some hope, because that is what I'm here for. Something that I would say, because you asked about finding maybe the exact place to start, I think that varies so much from person to person, right? Like some people, it's as simple as starting the first conversation with a therapist, or opening the door to therapy, or opening the door to the boudoir session and hearing us out about therapy, or hearing us out about our mission statement and what we believe about women's mental health. Maybe you're someone who isn't for therapy or against it, or maybe you had a bad experience, but you're interested in listening to some pretty cool women who want to be vulnerable with you and want to share our life experiences and what's brought us here today, and why our mission is to help heal women. So I think that is a really good start. But again, the start is different for every single person, and it depends and varies from where you're at in your life and what you need. I think that the first step is really and truly starting to get to know yourself better and understand what you want out of life and what feels right to you for you. So I see that you say you're unsure about therapy. I can relate to that. I was pretty, actually, coming from me. This is wacky, but I was pretty unsure about therapy myself at first, because I had heard so many things about therapy not helping people, and how it can be counterproductive, and how they're not going to talk to you, and how it's not really a conversation. And maybe that is true for some people, and maybe that is the truth that really has happened for some. And I believe that not everybody has the same therapy experience. And I believe that there are good therapists out there and there are bad, just like there are good and bad of everything else, you know? And so I believe that finding the right therapist is super important, especially if you're healing from any type of extensive trauma, or even not extensive trauma, depending on how it's affected your brain and how it's affected you as a person. Um, As far as being scared to come into a shoot, I've said this a couple of times in the podcast, but I'll say it again for you specifically. It is such a normal feeling. I mean, fear is a normal feeling for anything, right? Like you go skydiving, you're going to be scared. You get on a plane for the first time, you're going to be scared. You buy a house for the first time, you're going to be scared. You go to a new store and you don't know the layout, maybe you have anxiety. If this isn't something that scares you, I genuinely wish I knew what that felt like. But like this these things that we do as people, not even just as women, our first experiences at them, especially if we have any type of trauma, anxiety, depression, whatever it may be, that also contributes to our mental health. I mean, it's normal to be scared when we try new things, and you have to kind of put everything in the same box and say, okay, this is something new. I'm going to be scared for a second. You might even feel fine until the day of your shoot, and then all of a sudden it hits you, and you're like, holy shit, I'm nervous, I'm scared, and I don't want to do this. And it's almost like that last minute, your brain is like, here's your last shot. It's like, someone tells you this is your last chance to get off the ride. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what your brain does in that moment. It's taking you to that fight or flight, and you gotta push through it. And my clients that push through it, they come out of the session, they're like, this was not bad at all. Like, wow, you were not a weirdo. This was actually not scary, and it was fun, and I felt fucking amazing, and I looked like a badass. Like, these are the things that happen after your shoot. And so I think it's so freaking worth it, and I really hope you do it. And I also feel like, based on your dear Shelby, that this retreat could be such an amazing healing process for you, especially going through a divorce, experiencing that pain and having to kind of recover from that. And I don't know how long you were married, but maybe regaining who you are as a woman by yourself, because I don't know your situation. Again, you didn't give me all of that information, not that you need to or had to, but I think that the healing retreat could definitely benefit you this is, if what I'm saying kind of correlates. So, for the Beautifully Bare Healing Retreat, we will be heavy focusing on trauma healing. We have a certified trauma therapist coming with us to the retreat. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal. She's going to be doing individual and group sessions with each and every single one of us. It's going to be such a beautiful healing experience for everyone. And I just cannot wait to see what things we're able to heal from, what we're able to work on. I mean, I'm not saying that you're going to go to this retreat and you're going to come back and feel like, you know, you're over it all, because I mean, healing is a journey. Healing is not a snap your fingers and you're all better type of thing. And it's not all going to happen at this retreat, but what will happen is true change in the right direction. And that is the most important thing, is that you're heading in the right direction when you're trying to heal, because I spent so much of my life healing in the wrong direction and actually hindered my healing for years. And so I'm such an advocate for healing in the right direction and finding your truth, because I think that so often we are focused on being better, but in reality, we need to be true to ourselves. And that inherently is going to make us feel better, because we're going to be who we are to our core. We're going to be who we need to be for ourselves, instead of focusing on being better to impress, focusing on being better to get clout, or focusing on being better and that's not saying that you can't do something to better yourself. Whatever that means for you is great. If being your truest self means going to the gym 6 days a week and working out and eating healthy, that's your truest self. I'm so happy for you. But if your truest self is just finding your identity and being able to be open sexually and being able to heal from your trauma and being in a safe and happy home and being comfortable is what your truest self desires, then that's for you. And that looks different from woman to woman. But like I said, the goal of this retreat is for each woman to find their truest selves, because this is not a one size fits all kind of retreat. And I think that that's something that in the next episode, when I talk about this retreat, this is what is so important to me, is that we find who we are to our core and who our truest selves are, and we start to regain what our sexuality looks like for us as individual women, what our healing journey looks like for us as individual women, because this is not a one size fits all. And I want to make that abundantly clear, that I do not believe that there is a one size fits all program that's going to work for every single woman. It's just not. Every single woman is not the same. Just like we say, every child is different. This is the truth, because those children grow into adults and they're all different, and we're all different, and our brains, the way they're made up, the way we were raised, our traumas, they're all different. And so at this retreat, we will be focusing on individual healing for each woman that attends. And we will be doing things as a group, of course, but it's going to be geared towards the fact that we understand that everyone does this differently, and we will give at least 3 to 5 different things for each woman to do during our exercises or our talks or whatever we're doing that is geared towards them specifically. Like, people who have higher anxiety might have trouble speaking to the group, but they might do better if they wrote down what they wanted to say to the group and I read it. So we will give options such as that. I mean, that's just like a random option that I'm just like throwing out there, but just so you can kind of understand that we're going to be catering to our clients and to the ladies that attend based on what they need specifically. And so I think that this could be such a beautiful thing for you to come to. I mean, there's going to be a shoot involved. It's 100% all inclusive. Your flights, your concierge, your 24-hour security, airport transfer, food, alcohol, non-alcohol, chefs turn down service, party bus. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And listen to the next podcast after this one just so you can get a better idea of what all is going to be happening at the retreat and kind of why we got there. But I think that this could be such an amazing experience for you. And I 10 out of 10 would recommend it. I think that this could be the best treat for yourself, especially after going through a divorce. All right, guys. And that is it for today. I really appreciate you listening to Dear Shelby this week. It's been amazing. I cannot express to you enough how much I appreciate you tuning into the Beautifully Bare podcast and just spending this time with me. And thank you for listening to the Beautifully Bare podcast.